Hey, what's up, everyone? So today, I think it's safe to say that today is the most uncertain day because of the war. I think Iran attacked, so we really dropped down in the indexes. But I chose to win today. I chose to win. So we can see here, I'm up 195. My other calls though for Oculus, I sold them instantly. It broke through the structure. I was like, forget it. It didn't work. The macroeconomics does affect other stocks, and if this was a different day with without that macroeconomic affection, then maybe it could have worked, but I sold, so I lost. But I'm still up on the day. I made 184 in these puts. These did go a little bit lower, but it just I'll talk about it later. I got this put. It was a little too expensive. All the puts were very, very expensive, so I was like, let me wait for a pullback. And then I took these calls, and it was quick. I just took it off the table. I also traded small caps today. This one did have a higher float, but I will explain why later, why I traded it. And it's already right now, the current price, as we can see, it's at 49 cents, and it did go up to that within minutes. So I would have made about 100 today, or maybe 200 had I kept on holding. But I was like, hey, it's a higher float stock. Let's not be stupid. Let's just get out. Take it for the day. So what the hell happened? So look, we instantly crashed from 263 all the way down to almost 253. Now we're starting to recover. We already broke through the EMAs. This still had me question, okay, where is the support? We're going to break through the 255 support from the previous day. And then let's see, where else? February 10th or February 5th. All right, 255.41. Okay, where else? Early January. So early January, we have a low of 253. And we did end up breaking that low and made a new low. So right around here, this low is now at 253.41. And yeah, we'll take a look at what happened today. So where did I take my trades for the calls? Well, first and foremost, let me just close my other tab. First and foremost, this is SPY and QQQ. So I am looking at this all at the same time now. And as I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, well, we have a huge gap. And this is why I like Day Dash. Day Dash can show you the gaps. Robinhood does not show you the gaps, and that's something that I don't really like so much. I like to see those gaps. If not, then I won't be able to tell. Then okay, can this potentially go? This didn't fill the gap. Yesterday we filled that gap. Like you can try to play the gaps, but it will never fill. And this is why I took that 683 call. Also, that 0DTE guy did place it, so I did try to see if that would hit. And you can see here within the first 5 minutes, we hit a low of 674 all the way to 677. So those were pretty good, and we hit a low of almost 669, almost 668, and now we're recovering. So I was okay with that, and QQQ followed similar pattern. You can see this is very almost similar, almost identical, but just know that they are two different um, indexes. So I wanted to show you guys this as well. So for the puts, let me see the 255s. I want to show you guys what else I'm looking at as well. So IWM, I wait for the first 5 minutes, it goes down and it goes down lower. After 15 minutes, I'm like, no, 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 these contracts are way too expensive. Let me just find out where this will go, what kind of pullbacks we'll get. I felt like that would be the safest move to get those pullbacks. So we'll look at the chart here. Now these puts are $53. So initially, when I was looking at them, they were 191. I was like, these are way too damn expensive. I'm not going to get in. These were $93 earlier. Yeah, that would have been good. But today, with all the uncertainty, I just wasn't sure. I was like, let me just look for a guaranteed safer entry. Let me look for a test of, support, a test of resistance. So my first entry, I actually got in the 254s as well, around the same area. So I got them a little high. You can see my 254s, they were around 120, and I didn't sell them for that much. So they were a little bit high. So I got them around the same time I got the 255s. I kind of switched my mind because it was at 254.50 and then started going up. I was like, no, if this goes over 255, I'm going to take a break. And you can see how quickly this wicked up. I mean, these are really big wicks. Now we're recovering. We're almost flat on the day. So these were really big wicks. And I was like, okay, we have a rejection here. And I saw that. And I was like, all right, I'm going to take it. We're still red on the 5-minute chart. And 15-minute chart, I saw that we were just starting to go red, and I was like, okay, this will be good. I waited till 7 a.m. because it's 7 a.m. fuckery. I was telling my brother, 7 a.m. just comes out with some bullshit candle. Look at this candle. Like, this could easily tell someone to go calls if this candle fills up all the way and then just have it to wick straight back down. You know, it wasn't good. So I got a one contract, 255 here. Then on this next one, at 10:15, 7:15, as soon as this peaks, because I was ready to sell. I didn't go in heavy yet because I didn't even go in heavy. I only went 5 contracts. One, they were expensive, but two, I was uncertain. I was like, okay, if we can hit another rejection here and continue the break, then I will add. And that first candle was a doji right there at the peak, and the 9 and 20 EMA, they were about to cross, and I was like, it's not over just yet. The 1 minute, it's not really that strong. It's still relatively weak, and I added 4 more positions here at yeah, I added 4 more here, so I had a total of 5. So I was like, okay, cool. And I was looking for the break initially. No, sorry, I added 4 here and I added 1 more position here, so I had a total of 4. I added 1 contract and then I added 3 more and then I added 1 here. That's how it went. And then I was initially wanting to get out with my original 4 contracts at this low as soon as it broke 254. Because I was like, okay, I don't know where the support will be. I'm trying my best to look at, hey, where are we going to find this here? This could be anywhere. This could be 255. Well, we already broke the 255. 254 is his next support that I could test from February 5th. And I just wasn't sure. You never know how aggressive these reversals can be. I hate to just catch a reversal on the other end. That doesn't feel good. You're like, fuck, now you gotta switch. So anyways, I couldn't get out there. My brother did get out around this area, and it was just too quick. And I was like, damn. I'm like, okay, let me just wait. And that's when I added this position. As soon as it sold, I broke through and sold at 720. So this was my exit at this candle. The 1 minute sold at 120. So I was like, good. 720. So around this area right here. And it did go lower. It did go lower. And yes, I would have profited a lot more because within the next 2 minutes, this dropped to 253. So these contracts started going up. These contracts peaked around 198, and I sold them for about 186. So not that much extra. These calls were already super high. So yeah, look, already expensive. Anyways, so what am I looking at too? Well, sometimes I will maybe use the delta and gamma and the theta. So theta is the decay over time. Theta is decay over time. And as the day goes on, this is the amount that the call will reduce by. Typically, within the next day, the call value will reduce by that amount. This is puts. So puts are going to show negative. Calls are going to show positive. So on here, for every dollar this goes up, this will go up $28 in value. Delta is velocity. Think of velocity like you're driving a car. Gamma is that acceleration. So the faster this drops, the faster the delta will go up in value. And that's what we want. We want this quick drop. We want the slope. You guys ever taken geometry? You want this quick slope. This is a faster rate of change, and that's what we're looking for when we're trading options. The faster the rate of change, the more you'll profit. Same thing. This is actually not a bad rate of change. However, this did hit a little bump in the road, and went up higher. So you could still hold through there, and yeah, this would have worked. This still would have worked, but you would be cautious here at the VWAP that it could reject. So you would want to wait for confirmation, especially on this day where it's a bit uncertain. Puts are, or I guess the sentiment is, negative. The sentiment is red. So that's what I'm looking at. I don't always try to trade off that. On a choppy day, what I want to look at is this theta to be less. If I see this theta is really high, like I've seen these like a $90 value or 0.9 for theta, but then you go to the next expiration date, then you will see that the theta will be different. So this was 255. And I'm just showing you guys an example because some people use options or Greeks to trade. I don't use them relatively all that too often, but they can be helpful. So let's say expiring today, that's what we saw. So let's look at expiring tomorrow for the 255 puts. So we can see here, look at the delta. The delta is higher, gamma is a little bit less, but the theta is a little bit less. The theta, actually no, sorry. The theta is more. It's inverse. When you look at calls, they're inverse. So we'll look at calls right now. That always gets me mixed up. So look at the theta on the calls, and then we'll look at today's theta on 255 calls. So you see how it's lower because obviously it's going up. But let's look at maybe a higher strike price, a 260 strike price. Look at this theta. It's a 0.1. And then tomorrow's theta for 260. 0.5. So these will have a less decay on theta versus today, and that's by half. That's by half. So sometimes I will do that on a choppy day if I see that theta is a lot less. So that's just the Greeks, but make sure you guys just read Understanding Options by Michael Sincere. He explains it better. Um, but yeah, velocity, rate of change, or acceleration, how fast that changes, and then the theta. Those are the three main things that I really would kind of pay attention for, especially on a choppy day. So anyone could have profited both ways today, and I'm glad I got out. I mean, look, right here, we instantly broke through at this level. As I was trying to find this break through 254, was instantly recovered back up, and I would have lost. I am glad I chose to win today. I could have been stubborn and held, and I would have liked to have gone calls because this did support calls, but I don't know. We got a double top above the VWAP. That would make anyone cautious. 1 hour charts. The 1 hour chart is very extended too. We have, like, see, this drop. So that's what I'm looking at. And we did okay today. Now for my, let's see. Yeah, I also said this as well. For my, what was I looking at? Oh, Mobix, MOBX. So what was going on with MOBX? Well, MOBX had news today. They did get a significant U.S. Navy, order. As you can see here, the flow is a little high, so that's why I was like, I don't know. But considering how the sentiment is around war and defense right now, I was like, this might not be a bad idea. And look, you see, it's right now it's going up. It's hitting pre-market high, so right now it could be tradable because it is approaching that pre-market high at 55 cents. And we'll look at the daily chart, and we'll look at where I exited, entered. I got out of my position. If you looked at it, my position earlier, let's look at a 10-second. My position was very quick. I think it was like 10 seconds of an entry. Like, I took it off the table pretty quickly. Like, as soon as the news came out, like, I think it was around here. Yeah, as soon as it was going for the break, I got it at 27 and I sold around 29 cents around this area. I traded within this one candle right there, 730.50. That's where I traded, and it kept on going higher. But lower float stock, a higher float stock, I'm not going to risk, my small cap account. It's just already low. I got to take the small winners because February kind of messed me up. And I did restart in early February to 500. Now we're below 500. So we see here, I was like, okay, we're already above. The previous day closed at 16 cents, and as soon as I saw this open, we're above like 20 cents already. And I'm like, holy shit, we're already above the 50 EMA, half dollar, 50 cents. That's where I would expect some resistance. And we have the 200 moving average of 61 cents. This could keep going up higher, but this is not the type of profile we trade because it's 78 million float, and I didn't really see anything else. BATL was just way too expensive at this point. Nice float, it did go up, but I'm not going to trade it. It's just too expensive. I could trade it, but expensive, so why trade it? Now, Oklo, we'll look at that position. We'll see how that failed. And I had to bail out because I would have lost more. Now it's at 61. So this is a good setup. I mean, the setup was there. You see how it's approaching. And I'll show you earlier. I wonder if this 4 hour chart can go back. I took a trade, I believe, in Oklo early January, and those profited pretty well. Was it Oklo or something else? Let me check. Let me find out real quick if it was Oklo. Because Oklo was around $80, $90 at some point. Yeah, we'll look here. Um, show more. Yeah, January. So look, I took these contracts, 2 contracts at $60 and $32, and I sold for $95. This was a really good hit, January 5th. So this didn't work. Fine, macroeconomics. But let's go to January 5th. What was the setup there? And yeah, I think the setups will only work, obviously, if the macro conditions will maybe be better, but the war is uncertain right now. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know how quickly it'll end, how quickly it'll recover. So look at the setup right here. This is what I mean. As soon as we have the support above these EMAs, and this was already approaching 200 moving average, we were already increasing the support. I mean, granted, I sold that same day, so I sold as soon as it's pumped because you could expect resistance at this EMA level, but it kept on going higher and higher. And you see how it's riding onto that support continuously. Like I'm saying, the strategy works on any stock, but you also have to be careful with what the macro conditions are looking like. So both ways can happen, and so and you can see it's crossed over, and it's just been weak ever since. It's just been weak. But after a couple weeks of sell off, sometimes those recoveries, those reversals can be really pretty nice. So it's not over yet. Maybe I can see this happening a little bit later in the future. But right now we took the loss, and I'll take it. That's okay. I was wrong, and that's okay. That's what's gonna happen. But I'm just saying that this is possible. You see, as soon as we are in a bull market, try this setup if you can. Not financial advice. Try this setup if you can. You see, this is writing about the 50 EMA. We have the nice crossover, MACD, same thing, same strategy, different stock, a little bit different structure. And you can see here, these are the pre-market after hours. This is consolidation. As long as nothing's happening within the consolidation, you shouldn't be too worried. A pullback is normal, like per usual, and it rides up higher. So yeah, let me know how you guys did today. I chose to win today. Let's see how Ross did today. 8,000 MPT. So he traded MPT. Huh. Let's see that. MPT, 3.3 million float stock. This is a Chinese stock. No news though. So that was a risk. So yeah, this went up from like 7. As soon as it broke VWAP, 7, 8. Oh wow, this went up pretty high. Oh, that's good. It's good. And I imagine he took lighter size. I took lighter size today as well because one, they were expensive, but two, it is what it is, and we'll get other days. So yeah, you see here 149, 1 to 86, kind of expensive. Not what I'm looking for. Just know that it'll affect your buying power. But yeah, let me know how you guys did today. Hopefully, just a little bit of explaining on just everything helps with the strategy. Like I said, I'm looking for days just to add more to the PowerPoint and to see what other variations we have on the day. Like today, I think it was just like a typical day. It didn't feel that different. In terms of looking at the price action, it didn't feel that different. But the sentiment, obviously, or the narrative is focused on the war. So yeah, this is a V. So this is a good rate of change. A little bit slower, but still better. So yeah, hopefully you guys take care. Peace. Have a good day.